It's Tuesday evening again, and we are on the daddy-daughter chat. It's always good to be with you. So we're going to give a few all, I know it's just a couple of seconds on to come on, to realize that we are on. All right, so we are on from what I'm seeing. Hallelujah. So we're going to give a few all, I know it's just a couple of seconds on to come on. Okay, something real is that we are on. All right, so we are on from what I'm seeing. Hallelujah. So we're going to give it a few all. I am getting a bad feedback. Something realized.
Yeah, are you getting a feedback? You're getting a slight feedback.
A delay, not a slight, a long delay. I am getting a bad feedback. Something realized.
Are you getting a feedback? You're getting a slight feedback.
A delay, not a slight, a long delay.
Okay, that's better.
Hello?
Hello, we're hearing you. You hearing us?
Okay, good. Yes. So it's not a feedback again. I think that was another device picking up. So as I said, everybody, good evening again. We are on the daddy-daughter chat. It's always good to be with you. We don't have Kelly with us yet. She did tell me she may consider dropping in. We'll see how that goes. She's still taking her little break as she recuperates. Hi, Leanne Hamilton is already on, Sandra. Those are your guests coming on now.
Dylan, hi Dylan.
So good to have. So I have it with me this evening. Well, by now y'all are very familiar with Sandra Swift. I call her Dr. Sandra Swift. She's not happy about that, but she can't do anything about it.
Don't know whatever that, huh?
I'm far away, you know. Then I have with me Joanne Pence. We had Joanne on already sometime last year. She was on as one who spoke a lot about being a cancer survivor. I've known Joanne for 45 years, so she's my sister. Yes?
Yes.
So we're glad to have her with us tonight. And tonight we're talking about rejection. Has been our topic for the last 3 weeks. And I had Sandra and I had Rosemary with us. And Rosemary is not married, so we just shift a little bit for this session, since we're talking about rejection in marriage. And we spoke a lot about rejection in our last session. The last session we spoke about was rejection and romance. Yes?
Yeah.
And so that's where we are. So that's where we are tonight. On one of our sessions, a lady asked us, she said, so how do you treat with rejection in marriage? And I think all of us kind of had a little ouch on the inside. And we knew that we would have had to come with that topic, the whole business of rejection in marriage. So tonight, this evening, that's what we're going to start talking about, the whole business of rejection in marriage. So we're glad to have you in the daddy-daughter chat. You can find us on Facebook, Dominic Scott, or House of Glory Open Bible, or also on YouTube. Yes, so I'm glad that, Joanne, you're looking on Facebook, right?
Yes, I am.
All right, Sandra, you have any other device that you're looking on?
Oh no,
I'm looking on my desktop, but I have Facebook open as well.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so maybe I will open one of the devices so that we might be able to get all the comments coming. Hi, Jesse. Jessica James is on. That is Joanne's younger sister. My sister also. I've known Jessica just as long as I've known Joanne. I know you all can't believe it's 45 years. We look so fresh.
I know.
And yes, you look so youthful. You've known Joanna baby.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can see that
from baby stage.
Yeah, we were Pampers. Yes, we were Pampers.
We don't call a 10, 11-year-old a baby anymore.
That's right. And we have another friend on, Isa Philanders. Hi, Isa. Yay. Good to have you on. Hi, good night. Hello, guys. Good to have you on. So we're talking about rejection in marriage. I'm still just giving one or two people a little chance to come on as they come on. We have a couple people on, maybe about 14 persons on, and that type of stuff. So Sandra, just give us a quick recap on some of the things we said when we spoke about rejection. Some of the things that you remember, just one or two of the things you might have remembered.
Okay.
Um,
I remember we saying that rejection is a real feeling. It is also a painful feeling.
mhm,
That persons who go through rejection, they feel isolated, vulnerable, abandoned, and the hurt can last a lifetime.
mhm.
Dawn brought an interesting perspective last week when she spoke about how it can just diminish your self-esteem
Yes.
and your confidence in yourself, and how every you see when you are rejected, you see everything and every person, even if they're being loving, supportive, you tend to um, uh, cast what you feel upon them. So
Good.
it's like
Good.
a transference of your feelings upon them.
Yes.
So she was saying that it can carry through for a very, very long time.
Good. I
Um,
remember that.
you remember that? Yes.
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
also saying that rejection, it's just not it's just not just a temporal, but at some point, some people would need deliverance for it.
Mhm, mhm.
Because with it brings a lot of other emotions are tied into that, just that rejection or that incident.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
spoke about that as well. Yeah,
What one of the things I think we also said was that we talk about the feeling. We talk a little bit about feelings that you cannot tell somebody that they're not feeling rejected.
that's
You
right.
understand? You may not see it, but if that's a feeling that they're having, then we need to talk about it. We need to treat with
That's
it
right.
and that type of stuff, you know? So
Yeah,
good. All right. So I'm going to go into the questions shortly. I'm glad I am really taking Kelleen's position, who asks all the question in the on the show, and then she comes back and she would answer them herself too. So let me again just say hi. We have Amanda Bernard and Chanel Jarvis Seeley. They're watching. Rosemary Mitchell. Hi, Rose. We miss having you
I
with us, but you
know.
know we don't know. Maybe in the next year or less, we may have you on a program where we're talking about marriage. You know, Rose. We're
That's right.
prophesying into your life. You understand?
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. You know. Yeah, yeah. So it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good to have you on with us. So let me ask the first question. And of course, you're all feel free to throw in anything that you want to ask also. And I had Kelly inform some of these questions to help us. What does rejection look like in a marriage? What does rejection look like? Well, first, let me just get some things out to the Sandra. How many years are you married?
Wait, listen now. I have a confession. I'm so glad you asked me that. You remember when you asked me that last week? And I think I said 25 years, right? Somebody who was listening on the show called me and said, no, you married 27 years. So I
Oh,
just want to
Lord.
say
So,
hi.
so maybe
So I
not
want
even
to
your
say hi
husband
to
corrected
Tracy.
you?
Yeah, so it's 27 years.
All right.
I
And
was
Joan,
pushing.
how many years are you married, Joan?
8 years.
Okay, good. And
Eight
so I am
years,
married
second marriage.
8 years, second marriage. So yeah, second. That's why I brought Joanna on. She has some things that she could talk about. She's had some
Hey.
experience. And so I am married
Nice.
for 31 years. August made it 31 years this year. All right. So we're just letting you all know, those of us here listening, so we are all married. None of us might have experienced any kind of rejection, you know, but we just know about it. Okay. So what does rejection? What does rejection look like in marriage? And it really doesn't even have to be your own experience, because all of us have counseled and still counseling married people. What does rejection look like in a marriage? Who's going first? Hi, Sister Beverly Griffin. Good to have you on.
Ah,
I'll go first.
oh, hi, Pastor Beverly.
Go ahead, Joe.
I would say, firstly, it's not a cookie cutter. So to say rejection in a marriage looks like A or B, I
Yeah.
think it's not a good portrayal of what that could be. What I would
Yes.
say is that it is important in a marriage to first remember that there is no place for rejection in your covenant. So that means a reminder that rejection never comes from God, but rejection comes from man or woman, which is planted within.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's the first thing I would say. I would also say that rejection is situational and circumstantial,
Okay.
right? And for married people, rejection can look like different things based on what baggage you're bringing into that covenant. So
Okay.
if my situation growing up is one that I didn't have a voice, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a covenant relationship and I feel as though I don't have a voice, then that would spark that fire or ignite that fire of rejection, because that was something that I grew with. So I think in attacking what does rejection look like in a marriage, we first need to probably recap some of what you've already spoken about, but how it relates to a covenant relationship.
Okay. Good. So one of the things you said that I know we would have danced around it also or talked about it is that you are saying that based on what your experience might have been growing up may very well affect what you call rejection in your marriage.
Correct.
Yeah, Sandra, anything?
Yeah, that's very similar to what we've shared over the past few weeks. Joanne is correct. Because Rosemary's instance of when she shared of being the 12th child, and Dawn's experience when she shared about being rejected as a child and then growing into adulthood and then just carrying that baggage because it was not unpacked and discussed or confronted. She carried it over into her marriage. And so anytime she was confronted with a situation, she will go into this cage or prison of just feeling rejected and blaming it on the rejection of the past. So I think what happens is that 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 feeling, it carries over and it is again transferred and locked. And when it is in a covenant relationship, I tend to agree with Joanne, because again, we want to repeat what we would have experienced and discussed over the last week. It looks like withdrawal. There are symptoms of withdrawal, a loneliness, vulnerability. The person might also feel resentment. All those bundled together, anger. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes along with it that really speaks to ignored. That I feel sometimes I hear a lot of wives saying that. And if it is you have carried that over, anything could be termed rejection within the marriage.
Okay.
Right. So rejection highlights broken pieces from within, right?
That's right.
Whether no matter if it is based on past relationships or what you've learned as a child growing up. And when you're getting that covenant relationship, what happens with those broken pieces, anything that hits a piece of that broken piece, it then becomes a dagger or a sharp edge. And it then becomes magnified, male or female, as part of being rejected. Because now you're supposed to love me the most. By marriage, it means that you've accepted me with all my flaws. And then based on our vows, it's for richer, it's for poorer, it's for sickness and in health, it's for all those things combined. And whenever one of those elements hit piece of our broken piece, then to us, male or female, it may feel like rejection.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear you all. I hear you all. No, based on what you all are saying, it can easily also say, then from what you have said so far, it is not rejection that took place. But based on out of your experience, or because of where you might have been, you interpret what has happened to you through a window that was familiar to you in your past.
But see,
Yeah?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I believe that
Okay.
rejection is a customized thing based
Okay.
on all those variables.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I could just have met Sandra. I could say, Sandra Gill, you're looking plump, you're pregnant. And Sandra may take that
Ah.
as, oh my God, I can't believe she just embarrassed me like that. Everybody knows that I've been trying to have a child for all these years. So now Sandra receives that as reject. She just rejected me. She knows my story. Why would she say that? So I think that in that example, I just made that example, no pun intended, Sandra, but I just
Oh
made that
no.
example.
Oh, she's nothing but plump.
You,
I,
She,
yeah, she sounds
she doesn't know the
prophetic
meaning
there,
of
but go
plump.
ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
she sounds prophetic there, but go ahead.
I just feel that rejection is customized. I don't
Yes.
think that there is a blueprint for what
I don't
rejection
think that there is.
looks like, right?
Yeah, I
Each
don't think so.
individual, based on those very unique instances. I mean, we say all the time, children live what they learn. So
Yes.
if based on those tools that you've put in your toolbox, either prepares you to deal with quote unquote the broken pieces in your life that reflects as rejection to you, it either gives you tools to deal with that or not. And for
Okay.
me, that's my perspective on it.
Okay. So I want to be a little miserable. So Joanne says she looks at Sandra and she said, "But Sandra, you look plump." All right. Joanne was well intended, but Sandra took it as rejection.
Mhm.
So then we
Based
have
on
to
my
say that
experience.
based on the experience. So Joanne did not reject you.
No.
You received it as rejection because so let's talk it in the context of marriage. Honey, you're putting on some weight there, girl. So if
Transparency. So transparency is easy. I will tell you for me. When I say, honey, does this look good? He said, uh-huh. Yeah. I said, I think my stuff might have shrunk from the cleaners. And he looks at me and he said, you think so? And I say, yes. He said, well, then I think you need to change cleaners, but I'm still not thinking it's the cleaners. Okay, so
uh,
there's transparency, but
that's a wise brother.
his delivery to me is with love. So in other words, honey, ain't really nothing wrong with you. You might be thinking your clothes shrinking on you. We both know you're putting on a little, but it's done with love. And I think
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the element. When it's a stranger, it's different, right? Because now that same example I use, Sandra walked away thinking, wow, Joanne know my situation. And she said that. I might have been thinking, girl, you're looking good. You're looking ripe. You're looking great.
Wrong, yes.
But
And
then
if you're true,
Sandra is
and if
probably
you
not going to come to me and say, I'm really mad at you. You embarrassed me in front of those people. Most times that is the piece outside of the covenant relationship that's missing.
okay, okay, good, good,
Yeah,
good. So let me
yeah.
just
I wanted to say too, it can be a simple thing as your husband watching TV, and you are trying to get his attention, and he continues to watch the TV, and you are saying, well, I'm talking to the man, and he's not bothering with me. And some persons take that very, very seriously. It might be simple for me, but for other
yes,
persons, if it continues and
it's
you build that
rejection.
pattern, it becomes rejection. So it's
And
you're
and,
not paying attention to me. You're
and
ignoring me.
that goes back to not having a voice. Because if you grew up not having a voice and now you're
Exactly.
stating, I would like to have a conversation with you, and the person does not say, okay, I'll turn it off right now. What's going on? Again, that's that
Exactly.
broken piece, right?
That's a
So
broken piece.
you then feel, I don't have a voice. I'm trying to have a conversation with him and he won't even acknowledge me. And then the enemy steps in. That's right. You're not good enough. Let him watch the TV. He doesn't have a minute to give to you right now. And that to me is what happens in the covenant
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. So let me just take one or two comments. What's this? So Rosemary says, let me see anybody before Rosemary. Rosemary says, wow, no place for rejection from your covenant. Powerful. She says, hence the reason for proper counseling before marriage. Deliverance should be done before marriage for someone with rejection issues. She also says rejection highlights broken pieces from within. Powerful. All you're deep tonight. All you're hitting deep. And Jessica says rejection leads to resentment. Serious stuff.
Yes.
Rejection leads to resentment.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Shelley is here. Hi, Shelley. We missed you last week. Sandra missed you a whole lot last week, Shelley.
I did say that.
And here Uncle Was, don't try that. I am not sure that the watching TV is a good example. You were speaking for all men. You're speaking for all men, Uncle Was. You sure have our support on. You sure have our support on that. Yeah. So okay. So I hear that. There are some things in my mind that I want to say, but let me go to the next question. Okay, I think maybe the next question does deal with it. Because you can actually have in the relationship where deliberate rejection is actually being done by one of the partners. You understand where you actually reject your wife or reject your husband for some reason or the other. Yes?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard about that. I was talking to somebody about that not too long ago. And she was, I was talking to a female, and she was saying to me that she felt at one point rejected in her relationship. And then she realized that it was an intentional thing that the husband was doing. And he was doing it to withhold his heart from being hurt. So she said if it was that she was looking good, she's, you're lifting weights, you're going to the gym, you're working out, so you're looking good, he's not going to say you're looking good. But from the time she starts to look, like she's losing weight and kind of haggard and not taking care of herself, he would immediately make a comment. What's going on with you? Why are you looking so bad? You're not looking, you're losing weight, you're looking good, And she said he kept on doing it over a period of time, and she felt totally rejected by him, but she realized he was rejecting her. And it was only through counseling, they had a little separation, and only through counseling she realized that he was afraid to love with all his heart.
And again, it goes back to his broken pieces.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
To his broken pieces.
Yeah.
And in that particular scenario, he was also rejecting himself because he put her in his covenant.
Boy.
So I would say that to women, if there's anybody out there going through something like this, understand that it's not just you.
Yeah, that's right. That's
You said that last week too. Yes.
Yeah, that
you are not alone. You are not alone.
You're not alone. But even within both of you, the rejection that you are feeling based on a scenario like what you described is a cry for help from him.
Yes.
His broken pieces.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. It is a mask actually that he is wearing to safeguard his heart.
But we all have masks, right?
But we all have masks.
We all have.
Well, we all are wearing masks right now, so. Yeah. We all have masks. Literally, we all have masks.
So the next question is, what are some types of rejection in a marriage? And I got some maybe I shouldn't call what I see in the brackets yet. What are some types of rejection in a marriage?
Infidelity, that's a huge one. Whether it's male or female,
Male.
the first place the person that the infidelity has done against, the first thing they think of is why. The second thing
Yes.
they think of is, I am not good enough, right?
Yeah.
Then you go into a whole slew of rejective points there,
Yeah.
Attachments, detachments. Am I looking good? I'm not who I used to be. Maybe I put on a few pounds. I lost my job. Whatever the situation is, with that type of rejection, the first thing that usually happens is a look within. But it's
Yes.
not a look within that's clear. It's a look dragging all your broken pieces and baggage with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think that's like the main one in a covenant relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
that can bring on rejection, that could either have you go to counseling, could either strengthen your relationship, or it can either break the relationship.
Or it can make you do the same thing.
Yes, it can.
Yes, it pushes you to become adulterous also. Yeah. So it pushes.
See, for me, I get what you're saying, but for me, I have always been taught that what comes out of you have to be in you, right?
Okay.
And for
Okay.
someone who I can stand in the gap and I can say that actually happened in my first relationship, and that's not what I did. What I
Yeah.
did was pull my bootstraps up
Yeah.
and continuously remind myself of my worth.
Good.
And then of course be reminded that my real sweet man is Jesus Christ. That's for you,
Oh.
Cassandra. My real sweet man is Jesus Christ. And when you are in that situation, that gives you the impetus to understand that two wrongs absolutely don't make a right. And by
That's
you
right.
doing what he has done does not inflict any greater pain on him. It's a circle of pain. It's deep pain, right? But that's what
That's right.
rejection is. It's deep pain. That's what rejection is. So,
Yeah.
having been in that particular situation, it did not make me run out and decide, well, he did it, so guess what? I'm going to do it, because I knew my worth.
That's right. Good.
Yeah. I used to say, there's a simple thing I tend to say to young people: nobody can make you do anything.
That's
they can
right.
influence your thoughts, they can set you up, but at the end of the day, you made the decision. And actually, the Bible says that man sins when he's drawn away by your own lust.
Lost. That's right. That's right. That's right.
It's your own lust. So I know how I'm feeling, and I feel hurt. But they say hurting people hurts people. So it's not because of my hurt. I feel rejected, and again, it is transferred. You're transferring your rejection to God, because you feel it's okay for me. Look what like Joanne said. Look what he did. So now, because he did it, I feel that I have the privilege, or I have an opportunity, because of my hurt, to continue to sin. But the Bible corrects it. It says we sin.
And I just want to share, when I was in that situation, one scripture that I held dearly to me was Matthew 5:48. Therefore, you are to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect.
That's right.
That worked for me. I was like, looky here. I don't care what's going on over there. It is no reflection on who I am. It does not diminish my worth, because I know who I am. I know who my heavenly Father is. And as I said, I really know who my sweet man is. The only person that's going to love me unconditionally, no matter what.
Awesome.
So I
Dominic,
get it.
again, I want to stress, Pastor Dominic, again, I want to stress, because Joanne again is saying, reinforcing what we ended with last week, that we really have to teach people that how much we have to influence and teach and mentor young people to love God, to
Yes.
love God as the Father. And she's saying as a sweet man, but really that is it. If we fall in love with this God, no, no, and I'm not trying to spiritualize it. I'm saying that Father's love and that male influence in your life really speaks volume um, to what you become and how you handle this level of rejection. It really brings us stability. Now, we are not in any way belittling the feeling that
Yeah.
you
Of
may
course.
have
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
hurt that you may feel and the rejection that is very real. We already established that. But what we are saying that in spite of this, that we ourselves cannot blame anybody else. If it is you feel, well, he reject me, I could have a next man,
Of
that
course.
kind of
Of course.
attitude. No, that we have to find out. You have to now begin to get counseling, but also begin to love on this God, and of course find the love of God and love of the Father.
We had an old saying long time: two wrongs don't make a right.
Two wrongs certainly no make a right.
Don't make a right. So what are some types of rejection in marriage? We have sexual, emotional,
Yeah.
physical, mental. Which one you want to pick to talk on, Sandra? So these are, and this is just a few. Some of the some types of rejection in marriage: sexual, emotional, physical, and mental. You understand? That one. Okay, let me just touch on sexual a little because I've been touching on some of those. Where you have partners with different sexual drive. You understand? When we teach, and this is not conclusive, when we teach on the makeup of men and women, I like to ask couple, I say, what is the number one need of a man? And it's an easy answer. They say sex. But for a woman, it's number 13, just after gardening. Now,
It depends on the woman.
of course,
It
that's why I said
really depends on the woman.
that's that's
It
that's why
depends
I
on the
said
man
that.
too, It depends on
Yeah,
the man, eh?
yeah.
But
So it's not. That's a general statement. Yeah, but of
Yeah.
yes,
course,
I
there,
know,
there,
we know.
there,
We just provoking you.
yeah, that's okay. I agree with that. And but my point is, if you do not understand that what you are calling rejection might not be rejection, you understand? It might also be lack of knowing each other, and that type of stuff. We're not going to stay long on this one, but it happens because it comes up a lot in counseling, especially when couples are a lot older, married, and stuff like that, or not even just older married, now newly married,
Oh,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah, because you see, because newly married, especially on the male side, he comes in with a mentality: I'm gonna get something all the time I want it. And that type of stuff. So sexual, of course, is one. And the way around that, I think, again, is education, is talking, is understanding each other. I went onto a platform on Clubhouse the other day, and just based on the questions that they were asking, I could tell that it was male asking the questions. I could also tell that the questions were rooted in pornography. I could also tell that the questions were rooted in selfishness and not in servanthood. You understand? And maybe we'll have a session where we will talk about it. We'll have to make it a session. Only certain age can come into that group, all right? But that's another big thing in terms of it, because there are 5 things that destroys a marriage, and sex is one of them if it's not properly spoken about or taught in terms of what happens with it. So we also have emotional rejection. Tell me a little bit about that. And I know it will still involve broken pieces, but do you have really what would emotional rejection look like?
Before, if I could just interject based on something
Sure.
that you said just now, I just want to say that we have to be reminded that the language of love is difficult,
Yes.
right? It's difficult. And I think it's difficult at the beginning stage even more because you're still learning each other. Um,
Yes.
So I always encourage young people. I mean, I have a son who is a young adult who is married. And we've had conversations, and I always try to say you have to be transparent. So you need to make sure that both of you understand what your love language is.
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
think that opens up the door to block some of the things that you just made reference to, because then it's out
Yes,
in the open, right?
of
And
course.
I always believe that you have to identify it before you can crucify it. So that's a good way of doing that.
I can see Kathleen putting that on a jersey. Identify it before you crucify it.
I like it. I like it.
So I just skip in the comments here, Joe, because I know this comment came from you, came for your answer.
Okay.
Yes, Jojo, it depends on the woman from either. Yes, Jojo, it depends on the woman. And I know what we were talking about there, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right,
Absolutely.
so before we look at, go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
Because what if you're in a situation where you can't? I was sick. That was out the
Ah,
window. So
yes,
Oh,
you need that it's based on
that's a
only
good
that.
point.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you have to factor in all of those things. A man, I mean, my husband was married to me 15 months. Are you kidding me? Right. So, it's important to remember sickness and in health, for better or for worse. It
That's right, that's right.
encompasses all of that, including the love language, right?
Yes.
So it's important for us to discuss those things.
Yeah, and so you see again, I think it was Rosemary who said why marriage counseling and pre-marital counseling is important, and even post-marital counseling is important,
Yeah. Yeah.
because all
Yeah.
these things are things that needs to be discussed, because there are some of them are eventualities that can actually take place in the life of the marriage,
Right.
Yeah.
So good.
And
So before,
I want to say this because what Rosemary really said also was that deliverance is important.
yeah, yeah,
And I really see counseling, at least when it's done by some persons. I really feel with pastors, it should move to a stage of also deliverance
I
counseling.
agree, I agree, I
Yeah.
agree.
So, and prophetic counseling as well. So sometimes you go through the rituals of the premarital counseling, the love language, and that kind of thing. But sometimes you need to dig deeper into a person's past, their
Of
traumas,
course,
their
of course.
fears. So that emotional rejection, yeah, yes, to me it can also be in the form of silent treatment, um, ignoring the person again. Some people um, a passive aggressive behavior, those kinds of things. It just comes out within the marriage. And so that in itself is a real challenge. And like Joanne just said, if we don't identify it, we can't confront and we can't crucify it. So definitely early o'clock in the premarital counseling, it should be determined and
Good,
deliverance should
good,
take place.
good.
Yeah.
I can already say to you, keep next week free. Ooh,
Joanne is
because
so sweet.
she's a very busy woman.
Yes,
So,
face looks like.
so, so before we just touch a little bit on what emotional rejection and look at, let me just take a couple comments again. Um, so we hear, okay, so we dealt with Uncle Wazir and his good trying to help us men. Hi to Neil, she says good night. So Isa says rejecting can be an inside job or a deterrent of an outside job.
Yes.
Oh
Say
my.
that again. I missed that. So can you say it one more time?
Rejection
Preach,
can be
sister.
rejection can be an inside job or a deterrent of an outside job. You see, Sancho, let me tell you something. These are the people I grew up with as some of them older than me. Right? These are the people I grew up with. You understand? Why I have some of the wisdom I have now, right?
I hear you. I hear you.
when Joanne left the country, I spent a lot of time with Isa. You understand?
I
so,
hear
so
you.
okay. And then she says, we turn a blind eye in our marriage to rejection. That's true. So
Yes.
sometimes rejection is taking place, but you pretend not to see it. And
Yeah.
then Tennille, we agree with you. Tennille Augustine Hayes says rejection starts from childhood. And we said that. And then Isa said the black sheep, or so we say, leave home and enters into a marriage as the same black sheep. God.
Hmm.
So it means again, it's the broken
Broken
pieces.
pieces. Broken
Same way you
pieces.
left
Yeah.
is the same way, is it? Hi, Patricia Remy Noel. Interesting topic, she says. How you doing? And then
So
so Patricia saw you on the last session we had, Joanne. And she didn't remember who
okay.
you are, but then when I mentioned somewhere we said she said, "Oh, that's Jessica's sister." You left too long ago. Yeah, and she says she agreed two wrongs
So
do
I
not make
want
a
to make
right.
a comment on the
Sure, go
emotional.
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
want to make a comment on the emotional piece, right? So we said that uh, rejection is very specific to us, right? As
Yes, yeah,
individuals, that is. Um, it encompasses what our needs are, what our likes are, what our emotional maturity is, what our
yes.
stability is, what our emotional intelligence is, what our preconceived notions and images that we have, and most importantly, acceptance of ourselves.
Mhm.
So I believe all of that encompasses rejection, right? All of
Yes.
it. Um, and all of those things affect our emotions. We are emotional beings, right?
Yeah,
Especially us
yeah, yeah.
women. Let's just be transparent. We are emotionally based. So where a man may get upset or feel rejection to something and walk away, that's not our plight. That's not our portion. Most of us speak way many words than men today, as they say. So I feel that in this place of rejection, a lot of times women, with the action of that elevated emotional feeling or emotional space, we may even take the rejection to a different level. So I think that it is important for all of us to grow in emotional intelligence. I'll give you one
Okay.
example. Dominic, you know me. You know I'm a no nonsense, get it together. What's the next? Let's jump on it. Let's get it done. But I've realized that I'm not perfect. I used to think once upon a time I was pretty perfect. But I've realized that I'm not perfect, right? So for me, something that I did that I didn't realize that I was actually doing to fill the space of a broken piece in my life, I overheard my husband telling a friend of his, "You're not going to leave something my wife does that I don't think that most women do." So I was kind of nosy. I stood in the hallway and I was listening. And he said, every 2 to 3 months, he says to me, "What can I do better?" And he said, "I am then in a space in love to explain to her a few things maybe that she needs to work on." He said, and because of that, I now find myself asking the same questions. So I feel in a covenant relationship, working towards two broken people who should have the spaces interlocking. So for me, my broken pieces should be the strength of my husband, and his
Yes.
broken pieces should be somewhat my strength. I believe that when they an opportunity for unmasked, truthful conversation
From whose?
with the person that you feel loves you the most, is supposed to love you the most, then it allows you to continue to work and conquer and fill up some of those broken pieces. I firmly believe that.
Awesome.
Are you getting a
Awesome.
Get
feedback,
some
Dominic?
feedback
Are
from
you, Pastor Dominic? Are you getting a feedback? I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's coming. It's coming off of Joanne's mic, I think. a little bit.
Oh, it's Joanne's mic. Yeah, you're hearing in background. Yeah, I was just wondering.
It might just be internet. It might just be internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, okay.
So I think what I like. Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, it's probably the internet. Yeah.
Could be any one of us. But while you were talking, just so we're hearing it. So let me know if you're hearing it while I am talking. But what I like in terms of what you said was, so let's face it, all of us when we get married will be married to somebody who has broken pieces, and you would have broken pieces. Yes.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, and so I like what you're saying in terms of one should have the strength that helps the other and vice versa. You understand? And so there should be that maturity, really, first of all, to understand that you are married to somebody. There's a series we teach called Sacred Marriages. And the whole idea is you're married to somebody who helps you to become more like Christ because of some of the things that you go through. And that too can come to the whole idea of us being able to share this strength in terms of assisting and helping each other. So I like that. Good.
Yeah.
All right. So let me.
That's an interesting concept to establish during the counseling.
Yeah.
That is a good baseline to establish, because if it is, I am aware that let me just share. Let me stop. I went to before I got married, I would have courted. My husband and I would have been together for about over 6 years, as friends, or more. As friends.
Our friend? Okay, all right, good. As friends.
As
okay,
friends, we were very good friends.
Okay.
I really married my best friend. So what happened is this. One of the things I realized with counseling, and Sister Angela Griffith was my counselor, was one of my counselors. I made sure, Pastor Dominic, it might seem very, very funny to some young people when I say it, but we had 3 marriage counselors.
Oh, my.
So we really wanted the best of, we really wanted the best of the counseling experience. So we would have gone to Pastor Norman Ramnarayan, who was my pastor at that time. And I shared with him that I'm quite open to counseling, but I would also like Dr. Homer to counsel me. And we also went to Dr. Homer, and then I went to Pastor Angela Griffith. And one of the things that Sister Angela at that time would make you do is to write a letter to your father. And if it is that you feel that you would have heard, or she was very prophetic in those days, and she would just really go into that childhood experience and let you tell the story. And one of the things I remembered her saying to us is that childhood experience really set the tone for the marriage. And so we were able to discover, I was the first child, Alfred was the last child. So we were able to understand from the very beginning what were the strengths and what were the weaknesses. And from the get-go, he would say things like, if I say this, I don't actually mean it. You have to, if it is you don't understand, or you don't understand where I'm coming from, ask me to explain. So we are very talky. We get, I am free to say what I think. And that can be misunderstood. But he understands that I'm saying what I'm thinking. If you hear it, you might say, Sandra, over getting on, but So I'm saying that it's important that even in conversations, this guy was telling me just 3 weeks ago in his marriage, he realized that he was listening to his wife to defend himself.
Sandra, are you there? I feel we dropped you. Hello. Go ahead. Yeah, we dropped you for a few minutes, a few seconds.
Oh, are you
Go
hearing me
ahead.
better now?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good. Yeah, you're just internet went frozen. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
He
you
said
said
that
that
he
that he
was
was
listening
listening
to
to his
his
friend.
wife to defend himself. So they have a dispute, and he would just be waiting till she finished to say his piece. And he missed most of the essence and the feeling that she's putting into it. And so he would be very dismissive and very harsh when it was his turn to speak. And then one day they had a fight, physical fight.
Uh-oh.
And these are Christians. And he said at that point, he thought that when he hit her, he's always tell a story. He said he thought when he hit her, she'd have taken the lash, but he got the shock of his life. And then it hit him.
Okay.
And we are not
You're not you're not
condoning
advocating a
violence
battle.
here.
Okay.
We're not
Okay.
So what he's saying that at that point he realized that what she was saying was had some truth in it, had some feeling in it, and that is what he was missing all these years. And since he
Okay.
said that has happened years ago, and since then he has not ever, they have never fought, they have not quarreled like how they used to quarrel. They have free discussion. So that
Okay.
strength and that weakness and that communication is really valid.
Joe, I need for you to talk. Let's see if the feedback is coming from you.
Um, uh,
All right,
I
I
can
would give you
think
something to
about
talk about. Don't
something.
worry. What? So
Okay.
we spoke about.
Rejection can also. Okay.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I say rejection can also come from not feeling included, right? And that's something that happens at all levels. It happens on the job, it happens in families, it happens in covenant relationships. And I think that that is a big root of people walking around, lots of people walking around feeling rejected because they don't feel included. They don't feel like they have any choices to make any decisions. Sometimes people feel I have no part or I have no say in whatever situation it is. If it's on the job, they may feel, well, I'm a problem solver. I think I can fix this problem. But then if they're not meant to feel included, then that lever of rejection hits right away. Um, so I just wanted to bring that point forward as well. Um,
Okay. Okay.
not being included. And there are people in covenant relationships don't feel included. If
Yeah.
one partner is overpowering the other, is making all the decisions, is in charge of everything, that other
That's
party
right.
may feel
Communication.
disconnected. They may feel, well, I just don't belong, and again,
That's
I don't
right.
have a voice. I
Yeah.
I have no chance of making anything work in this relationship. I have now become a puppet, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a trophy wife or a trophy husband. So I think that it's real important to, as we talk about rejection, to talk about that, the fact that people don't feel included.
Included. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
the
that is
fact that
important.
people have a voice. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
must have a voice. And I want to just say this: it is not only men, okay?
Of course.
I know it's two women and Pastor Dominic, but there are so many situations where maybe a woman might be the main breadwinner, and she may forget that the husband is still the head of the household,
That's
and
right.
she might decide, because I have the bigger purse, I'm gonna run this. So it happens. It's not just men, it's women too, especially in the dispensation that we are in right
That's
now.
right. That's right.
you
That's right.
know
That's
That's
right.
right.
with
Good point.
COVID-19, you might have had a husband that lost his job, and now the wife is the main breadwinner. So
That's right.
then now you have to readjust the chess pieces. You have to relearn some different things. Maybe dad is the one combing the hair, braiding the hair, and putting the kid in the uniform, or getting them set up for online schooling. But things have shifted, and I think in a covenant relationship, as we attack rejection, it is very important to remember that everything is changeable. everything is changeable.
Must be able
God
to be
is the only
adjusted.
thing that remains the same, and it's important for us to tell ourselves those things. Say, you know what? God is the only thing that can change. So whatever circumstance hits, it's changeable.
Yeah.
And it's a tool that encourage a lot of young people to use. That as long as you are around, you will have opportunity.
That's right. That's right. So good. So good. We don't want to feel left out or ignored.
Right.
That too is a type of rejection that you can sometimes face. So Rosemary says that is true. Sometimes it comes with being the last born in a large family. That's being left out. That's very. And she was number 12, so I can imagine
She
how
was
much
number 12. We love
she would have.
her.
Yeah. Okay. So good. So we have passed our time already by far. It's so easy talking. It's so easy to go by.
I
We've
was
gone.
just enjoying it.
Don't worry. We still take 1 or 2 little more since we have people with us still. You understand? What does physical and mental rejection look like in a marriage? You can take them one at a time. What does a physical rejection look like? And I suppose would physical rejection and sexual rejection be the same thing?
I don't think
No.
so.
I don't
Okay.
think, yeah. It has a part, that is a part of it, but it's not the same. But
Okay.
go ahead, Joanne.
Yeah, I would say I don't think so, because physical rejection could also mean that you're just not present. You're there physically, but you're not present, right? That is a form of physical rejection to me. It has been said, I don't know how true it is, but they said that women need at least 13 touches a day. Some of us need
I
a
was
little
going
bit
to say that. I was going to say that. I was going to say
So,
that.
from time to time, I tell my husband he can't touch me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That doesn't count. I need my 13 touches every day. So, that is it. Some people
Oh,
are very
I
touchy-feely, and some people are not.
I
So,
kind of
Pastor,
wish my
if you
wife
have
wasn't
it,
hearing that.
no, Pastor, if you have it, Jackie,
Dr.
her
Homer says
13
the same
touches,
thing, yes.
yeah, you need to start giving her 13 touches. It's
15
important.
touches. Okay.
Yes, a day at least. That's the least.
1,
No,
2, 3, 4, 5,
No,
6, 7.
don't
Not
try
like
to
that.
do
it
it that
doesn't
way.
work
No,
like
that feels like licks, okay?
Honey, would you
That's
want
not a
13 touches a day?
Yes, she would. So that could be it. You could be present but absent, right?
Okay.
And then the obvious one, I could be upset with you. Maybe you told me you were going to leave work early today and take me to dinner, and I'm really looking forward to that. And you got home late. Maybe there was traffic, but I didn't even give you a chance to explain that, because my expectation was to go to dinner. So now you come in and now I'm upset, because now I feel rejected. I'm dressed and it's late and I didn't get to go. So now I decide to
I didn't
hold,
think about it.
as they say, the cookies from you.
The cookies, eh? Okay.
That's right. We call it the cookies here. I don't, look. Okay. No pun intended. But now if I decide that I am going to hold that from you, then it
Oh,
means
Jesus.
then that I am, I could feel rejected physically, because
Yeah.
it wasn't really my fault. I tried everything to get here, but there was traffic, etc. And
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
type of things, I think we have to be present that those things happen. And
Yes.
again, everything is changeable. Everything is
Yes.
changeable.
So that's why it's important to talk, to ask questions, to wait and listen, and not just jump to conclusion. And what does mental rejection look like, Sandra?
Mental rejection that is close. Listen, all this rejection we're talking, it can become quite abusive, and I feel that it might start off as a simple ignoring you when you're talking, but
Okay.
after a few times, or I don't want to even say it, because the first one might be so bad, it could be abuse. So if you sit to me, if you stand on a chair, people like to say a pattern of behavior produces abuse. But I'm saying that if you stand on a chair the first time, trust me, you're abusing it, because you're supposed to sit on it.
Yeah.
So I think mental abuse will look like it's similar to emotional abuse.
Yeah.
You're saying hurtful things. You're playing, just like what I said about my friend who said her husband was withholding his love and telling her hurtful things, not building your self-esteem, not saying positive things to you, not saying positive things, not just to you, but around your friends. That is a form of rejection because, yeah, when we home, you're very nice, but when you're with your friends, you have a different kind of behavior. And women and men sometimes feel very rejected in those scenarios. So mental abuse, it's a lot of emotional hurt and pain, negative talk towards your spouse that can result in physical abuse later on. If it is, yeah, ignoring the person, saying hurtful words. I've heard people play mind games. That's a very dangerous thing. Simple things like not sharing information, hiding your phone, going outside to make a secret call. If it is you continue to do those things, people get suspicious and they begin to wonder if you're telling me the whole truth. And you walk away feeling, no, you're not telling me the whole truth. You begin to feel feeling neglected, meaning neglected and being neglected. It's quite hurtful as well. So that will impact your mind and cause you to be very hurt and confused.
It creates a space of uncertainty, doubt.
Yes.
Right.
And avoid. There's such, avoid in your life.
And also, I want to say part of emotional mind games, I know you said it, but not telling the truth, right? So that's a main element in there. Not telling the truth. That could really affect the person emotionally and mentally. That could do some mental damage by just not telling the truth, you know. So you said you had to go to work and you're going away for work on a Friday, but you're really gone to the other side of town for something else. So those type of things, don't laugh. Those type of things can be an emotional wreck for anyone.
Good. So where are we? We are at 20 to 9. So just some things. We were talking just now about physical, and Isa says what? She says, likewise, touch your husband too. Rosemary asks, does the husband need? Rosemary asks, does the husband need touch as well? Of course.
It depends on the man.
Yeah. Uncle was answered and said, yes, Rosemary, plenty.
I think.
And then we have Rosemary saying mental abuse, saying one thing, but the actions do not line up, can affect one mentally.
That's right. That's a mental. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I just said, even when you cook a great meal and you don't get complimented, you feel rejected. You won't have to be mindful of every single thing. Okay.
But that's a broken piece because he didn't tell you he didn't like the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't have to say every time you cook, he appreciates the food, you know. Yeah.
Uncle Wazir said, ever heard of the silent treatment?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about initially,
Yeah. And Sister Sandra Yvonne Langa is saying blessings.
I haven't seen her in years. Blessings.
And Isa said, we need to stop this phrase in our marriage. It's only a joke I'm making.
We don't use that.
Agreed.
Because if it's a joke, I should be laughing.
Yeah, that's right. That's
the
right.
joke is on me. I said, what, the joke is on me? What?
Yeah. Hear what Isa says here. She says, it's funny how rejection doesn't show itself while courting, and boom, here comes the rejection in marriage. Because courting, you don't show your real self in courting. Courting is a whole mask.
I don't, I think that sometimes we are blinded because we courted.
Okay. Okay. You choose not to
I
see.
think that
We choose to be blind. We
Yeah,
choose to be
yeah.
blind.
We choose
You
to be
know,
blind. That's what I
you
meant.
may
Yes.
see red flags, but you say, "Man, those muscles really talking to me," and then you throw the red flag out the window. Let's be real.
Some
Muscles
people.
and
I
bulky
mean,
chest.
these days we are ignoring. I don't want to say it like that, but these days we tend not to pay attention to that courtship
Okay.
period. Yes, and we tend to say, if it's God's will, let me go ahead. And I'm going to jump out there and say that I think that at times, because I understand there is, and of course I am saying, make sure it's God's will. But at the same time, that courtship period really builds a friendship. It is really that does not involve sex. Well, for the Christian, that should not
Yeah.
involve sex.
Yes.
So what you are working on is developing a partnership for marriage and a relationship. Sex is really I don't want to say consequence, but it is really an expression of what the relationship is. So
It's a bonus.
it's a bonus. Yeah, it is. I mean, but Pastor Dominic spoke earlier about whether it is you feel sexual rejection, but you will feel sexually rejected if it is you did not do your homework, and if it is you are not if it is you are not doing it good enough. So I always like to share this story. My husband, before I go to work, he would show he cleans the car nice and everything, and I'd be like rushing around trying to get everything going, and then I realized I don't drink tea. So I said, babe, did you make some tea? No, but look, the car. Look at the car. And I as I always say, and I going down the road with gas. You understand? Because you didn't make it. So he says, and he realized it actually, and he said, I'm doing what I think is good for me. I need to find out what it is you want me to do. So I don't care about the dirty car.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't, but I also need to appreciate the fact that, hey, look at thanks for the car, it look real good. But so that's the balance. So I'm saying that courtship period, as much as we don't play emphasis on it, it will give us it should help us develop that kind of partnership. We talk about our childhood experiences and our broken pieces, and that can only help the marriage in the long run.
There's a gentleman here on, I don't know if anybody know him, G. Christopher Pence.
My honey.
He says, work on your broken pieces.
He's at work.
I know.
And he's listening.
But you said that he wouldn't be able to come on. He found a way to come on. Hey, guy, you're my hero, boy. He says, work.
Proud of him.
He says, work on your broken pieces in all your relationships, even with yourself.
Right.
Even with yourself.
Yes.
You
I learned that.
Yeah. And then Sandra, this one is for you, Susan Naji. Good night, Sister Sandra and company.
Hey,
So enjoying the seas.
Susan lives so close to me and I hardly see Susan. Hi, Susan. Good job.
And then Jessica James says, that's Joanne says, she said, we caught with blinders on and it comes off in marriage. That's true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Preach, sissy, preach.
And here, Rosemary. Oh, her face lot up. Oh. Yeah, but I put it when they right.
That's because he feels my broken pieces. That's why.
She corrected. Her face lit up.
Yes, he feels my broken pieces. That's why.
Okay, very well, very well. So listen, I mean, this has been a really good conversation. We see where we go next week. If I'll call on you all again, we don't know. Let me see what's going on with Kelly. She's going to be here. I know she's.
Hi, Kelly. Get better soon.
Yeah.
Yes, we love you, Kelly.
You.
We will let you know in time. So Isaiah saying, love you guys. I mean,
love you too.
when we come on, it feels like a little reunion. So many people haven't seen Sandra for so long, and they're just happy to see you. So Sandra,
Oh,
I brought you out, all the people that you have been not rejecting,
I
you know,
love them.
you're just busy, you know. So again, so remember we talk about rejection. We are going to have a session though. I'm not sure if it's next weekend where we have to talk about the whole, go fully into recovering from rejection and that type of stuff. And Sandra would have mentioned one or two in terms of the whole business of deliverance. I said this maybe on my first day. So I do a lot of deliverance. And the style of deliverance is what I call a counselor style of deliverance. So there's a lot of
That's
talking
right.
before, a lot of talking before, and then giving you skills, and then still praying to break and cast things out if it's necessary. And I have to say, at least 85% of the people I talk to, rejection is an issue with the other. And so that's why I say broken pieces. You can have a young woman who's married to somebody, and this guy loves her with his whole heart and wants to treat her well. But because daddy wasn't present or daddy didn't treat mommy well, then there's rejection. Or there are a lot of cases. I spoke to a young lady some time ago, and let's say she's almost 30. She saw her father 15 times in 30 years. You understand? So you understand the rejection. You understand? And of course, it's understandable then newly married, your husband left you and go, because it's as if the thing follows you, you know? So that's why I think I said in our early session too, we may have to find a way to actually do some type of seminar or coaching session as it relates to rejection and overcoming it. And I like the terms that Joanne has been using, dealing with the broken pieces. Maybe we call it that.
Yeah.
Dealing with the broken pieces. And stuff. But all of us, once you came to planet Earth, you've had some type of broken piece, whether it's little or whether for some people it's larger and bigger and more difficult to deal with. And so again, let me just start.
Hey,
Sure.
Pastor, can I also say that in that example that you just gave, what about the young man who never had a dad and never had the
Yeah.
example of
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
means to be man in covenant relationship?
That's
You know,
right.
he's coming with a whole suitcase of rejection, you
That's
know,
right.
and then when the mom ends up having a baby, now he might be feeling rejected because she's paying too much attention to the child. That actually happened here, first marriage. So I
Yeah.
understand what that means, you know, what that kind of look like. And that's not an element that men talk about. So
Yeah,
Pastor, you
that's right.
might need to do a forum with only men to discuss
Well,
that type of rejection.
that's such a very true statement, because also the people who come for counsel and deliverance, 85% are female. The men don't come. Yes, and men do not come and say, "I need help." It's a very rare thing, and as men, of course, we need to learn to open up more.
But
All
yeah,
right, so
but they are taught not to do that though. Suck
yeah,
it
Yeah, they
yeah,
up.
are.
Be
They are.
strong.
They are.
Stop being
yeah,
a
yeah,
It's
wimp. You
comfortable.
know,
yeah.
don't complain. Don't talk about how you feel. We teach them that.
Get up and stop crying. Don't cry for that. Get up.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we have taught. It's cultural. It's really cultural.
Yes, it is. So let me just read the last few comments before we end. Isa says, "Love you guys. We love you too, Isa." She said it was a pleasure here tonight. Rosemary said, "Great session." My brother in Arizona says, "Pastor Dominic, I'm so proud of you doing what you're doing, reaching so many people with this therapy that you're giving, and allowing people to share their selves with one another. It's a cathartic thing. It's heaven
That's it.
sent. Thank you, my
It's
brother."
something.
Rosemary said, "This is so necessary, Joanne Penn suggestions for a forum with men in mind," and that's true, because we have to prepare the men for our daughters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it takes a strong man to cry, says Wazir Khan. Hey, look, Katia and Glasgow Riley. How you doing, Sister Katia?
Yay. Tomorrow, right?
Yes, she said good. She's also a counselor. A good
Yes,
night.
she is. I got
Good
the
session. And then Isaac said it's generational with men to keep their feelings, and that's true. Yeah. So listen, we had an awesome time tonight again. I'll let you all know early enough if we continue with you all, and if hopefully Kelly can join us also. I know this is a session that she would have loved to be part of. So Joanne, thank you so much. Last minute I called you. That was when yesterday I think
Last
I
night,
called you.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually Kelly who said, Daddy, why don't you call Auntie Joanne? I think Auntie Joanne would be good for this session. Add Auntie
And
Joanne
it
to this
didn't
session.
happen.
And she had some appointments already, and she put them off, rescheduled, and she's with us again. So I want to thank all of you. All of you came on. Hi Jesse, good to have you.
Thank you,
All of you who
Sandra.
came on, and on both sides. I know I might not be able to get all the comments on. Some on the House of Glory side and some on the side on my thing. I don't think I saw anybody on the YouTube. But it was really good having this conversation. I think we're going to have to find a way to get it out, maybe in a more, I don't want to say a more formal way, but we see that this is a very large need that our society needs. And when I say society, I'm not just talking about the church society and the whole. Some of our murderers and drug addicts and all these people, the root of it might very well been some form of rejection that has led them where they are.
That's right.
So we need to prayerfully look at. I think Sandra, you work in an arena that you see that.
I see it all the time.
You see it all the time.
Yeah, and even especially with the men, I really like the appeal to the men, because I find that most men that are involved in homosexuality, it's really a form of rejection that most of them would have felt. I mean, 85%, just like you said, it would have been some form of rejection.
Yes.
That would have led them to that.
Yeah. So we're gonna see where we can go. Maybe God will give us some ideas of how to and who to approach to go on and to help. So again, let me say thank you again, Sandra. This is your third or fourth week with us, Sandra.
I feel like
listen.
I stopped counting.
Joanne, you don't know what a miracle it is to get Sandra on a platform. If I call her in the morning, she will call me back maybe in the next 2 or 3 days. That's how busy she is.
Wow.
So it's such a pleasure. I've known Sandra how many years? 30 years? Almost 30 years? Yeah.
Okay, Sandra, we need balance. We need balance.
I don't understand. Yeah,
That's
Shelly, I'm calling amen. Very must be saying, yes, I know. Oh, Jesus. It's so much.
Yes. So God bless you all. Sandra and John, you don't have to go when I come off. This stream is one that you can stay on for a minute or two. So let me say bye to everybody. So John, this about rejection is situational and circumstantial, customized to each individual. And I will put that on the Daddy Daughter. So I should let you all know that we also have a page that's called the Daddy Daughter page, that you can continue the conversation on that page or put up things. Sometimes we put some of the statements that came out of it. And Patricia says, good night, blessed night, everyone. It's good to have you, Patricia. Say hello to my boy, Lance Noel for me, my brother. Say hello to him for me. And again, we say bye-bye to all of you. Thank you for joining. Hey, guy, I'll try to see if I get you some doubles, bro. You understand?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, they come from Arizona to Trinidad to get some doubles, okay? All right, so God bless all of you. It was a good night. Kelly, we trust that we see you next week, okay, girl?
Yes.
Love you all.
Yes, Kelly.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Praise the Lord. God bless.